The showroom was silent as a library the moment Samantha stepped in. Cool lights, polished floors, and the quiet hum of high-end engines on display. She stood there clutching a canvas tote, wearing a plain white tee, faded jeans, and scuffed sneakers. Her hair was pulled into a messy bun, and her face showed the kind of warmth you only get from caring more than you worry about appearance. To most people, she looked out of place, and, as it turned out, that's exactly how the salesman saw her. "Miss." The voice came from a sharply dressed man, dark suit crisp, tie neatly knotted. He stepped toward her with a self-satisfied look. "This is a luxury dealership." Samantha's smile warmed. "Hi, I love cars and I was hoping to look around." The man's eyes flicked down from her jeans to her sneakers, back to her face. He cleared his throat. "These cars start at $300,000. If you're not a serious buyer, maybe come back later." She nodded slowly, confusion mixed with hurt. "Oh, okay." She offered her polite smile once more, then turned away and walked out. Behind her, subdued laughter echoed. Another salesman said, loud enough to reach her ears, "Bet she thought this was a showroom where you rent wedding cars." "Yeah," someone else joked. "She probably got lost." They didn't understand. They didn't see her as a person, just as a passing nuisance, and worse, no one bothered to ask. Samantha closed the dealership doors behind her, the familiar clang of metal echoing down the street. She took a deep breath, blinking away the sting behind her eyes, and turned homeward. A drizzling spring rain began to fall, almost on cue. Her commute was short, a walk to the corner bus stop, a clunky old bus that rattled and moaned as it rolled past spray-painted walls and darkened empty storefronts. She settled in the back seat, small canvas tote beside her. Inside were things that mattered only to her. A well-worn paperback novel she'd read a dozen times, an old journal with handwritten dreams and drawings, and a few photos, moments of laughter with her husband, Daniel, at Central Park. A snapshot of her favorite bike, her first real job's name tag pinned proudly to it. Her mind drifted easily back to those moments. She was a woman who loved beauty, not in luxury but in small things. Rusted bicycle chains, the sound of rain on metal rooftops, a hand-drawn sunset colored with chalk on the sidewalk. She knew who she was, even if the salesman didn't. That evening, Samantha came home to the soft glow of lamps in her suburban driveway. Daniel was working on the front porch, laptop open, a notebook resting on his knee. He looked up with gentle concern, brushing a lock of black hair from his forehead. He wore jeans and a button-down shirt, sleeves rolled. He had sneakers too. Though shiny and new, they didn't scream designer. "Hey, how was your day?" he asked as she stepped into the porch light, water droplets dripping off. He closed his laptop, set it aside, and offered a seat. The porch smelled like lilacs and wet earth. Over mugs of chamomile tea, Samantha told him about the dealership, the way the man looked at her, the way they laughed. Half in shame, half in disbelief. Daniel listened in silence, expression shifting from concern to quiet intensity. He didn't ask questions until she'd finished. He simply handed her tea. When she paused at the end, he said softly, they didn't know who they were dealing with. They talked late into the night, about memory and identity, about what matters. Samantha told him how she juggled 2 jobs, volunteered at a free clinic, helped neighbors fix bicycles, and still tended to their foster pet hamster Munchkin. Countries of privilege expect everyone to look the part, she said. They don't know how much work, how much heart lies beneath simple clothes. Daniel nodded, fingers tapping the table. "That's why we're going back." She half laughed. "You're joking." He shook his head, eyes warm. "They need to know we're serious, and they need to learn they were wrong." The next morning, Daniel woke early to take care of Munchkin while Samantha slept. When she rose, wrapped in an old quilt, the sunlight was golden and firm. He handed her coffee, an indulgent blend but not extravagantly priced. "Want to go for a ride?" he asked. She looked at her shoes, moments hesitation. "To the dealership again?" He gestured to the driveway, where a sleek black Rolls Royce Phantom glimmered. "Yes." Samantha stared at the car. It was stunning. Smooth, unattainable elegance. But more than that, it was his car. Or, more accurately, their car, if you considered how often he insisted on renting SUVs so no one would notice him driving it. It would be awful to parade it here, she thought, to broadcast who they were. But Daniel seemed serious, eyes gentle. Will you trust me? She took a deep breath and nodded. Okay. They arrived in the Rolls about an hour later. On the drive, Samantha had noted how her palms shook. What would people say? What if they reacted badly? What if some poor person, tired of being judged, didn't take it well? Daniel parked a few steps from the dealership entrance, engine purring like refined thunder. Inside, the room was full of polished vehicles and expensive air. The salesmen were neatly dressed again, leaning in clusters as they talked. Samantha recognized a few from yesterday. The man who told her to leave, another who laughed openly. They noticed the Rolls as soon as the door opened. Heads turned, lips parted. The room felt electric, smug confidence frozen, replaced by sudden tension. Daniel led Samantha in front of the same line of cars from the showroom. She wore the same plain outfit, canvas bag gently swinging. The silent hover of the salesman was tense, misguided. A salesman, the same one who dismissed her, stepped forward, allergic to respect.
Sir, welcome. How can we assist?
Daniel's voice was calm. Yes, my wife. She's going to look at the cars today. He paused. Samantha's heart pounded. The salesman swallowed, stared. But sir, are you sure? He looked sheepish. These are exceptional cars. Daniel smiled kindly. We know. That's why she's here. Samantha's heart broke quietly. Poor man, he didn't mean harm, just inherited arrogance. The manager, brisk and polished, stepped forward. His eyes locked on Daniel, a subtle glare of astonishment. Mr. West, welcome back. He straightened a jacket. We didn't expect to assist you? Daniel smiled slightly. Yes, I understand earlier there was some confusion. My wife Samantha, she's a serious buyer. The manager blinked, glanced at her. Of course, we'll be happy to show you everything. Inside, Samantha stood frozen, watching the staff defer to her with sudden respect. She felt strange, the center of attention. They walked past shining hoods, brushed luxurious seats. She touched a deep blue V12 convertible, felt the leather. It smelled like summer. Daniel asked her softly, "This one?" She whispered yes. The manager asked, "Shall we arrange a test drive?" They all looked at her, expectation bright. Samantha took a step. "Yes," she said, calm yet firm. A man motioned to prepare the keys. The salesman from yesterday swallowed so hard it hurt to watch. The car rolled out. Samantha slid into the driver's seat. Engines growl, smooth and strong. Daniel buckled in beside her, then hopped in back. They drove through city streets, around town hall, past cafes, down green parks. Crowds stared, but Samantha felt something shift inside her. The power under her foot felt like affirmation. She deserved this. Not because the car made her, but because all her quiet achievements, her volunteer work, her care, her heart, that made her worthy. They returned to the dealership. Back inside, they sat at a polished desk. Manager placed the contract, visible numbers staggering. $500,000, nearly. The salesman gulped. But Daniel spoke kindly.
Remember earlier, the part about commission?
Manager nodded. Daniel's eyes caught the salesman's. He gestured emphatically.
No commission for him. He'll get a bonus only if he admits he was wrong.
Head spun. The manager cleared throat. Okay. Samantha took the pen. She wrote her name below his. They left, walked in silence to the Phantom. Samantha opened the door. Daniel watched her. Are you okay? She closed her eyes. It's not just about this car. She looked at him. It's about respect. He smiled. She took the seat, mirrored in glossy metal. Engine started. They drove away down the crowded avenue. Once home, they parked in their driveway. Samantha stepped out, hand on the car door. A neighbor, Mr. Rose, an elderly man who always watered lawns, came by. Heard the Rolls? He said softly. Samantha smiled. New car. Mr. Rose's eyes lifted. Not envy, recognition. He gave a nod. Well done. Inside, they poured tea again. No driver's seat, just kitchen chairs. They talked about how things felt. "Will people always judge us?" she asked quietly. He kissed her cheek. "Maybe. But every time someone's kind to you, they're choosing respect. And every time people see it, they learn." She thought of the suckling hamster Munchkin, the free clinic, the little victories. She placed her hand on her heart. "I'll remember." Over the next weeks, the dealership changed. Word spread not via Instagram or tabloids, but among their staff. A few posted online. Dealerships shocked after politician billionaire returns. Others. He gave wife lesson in respect. Locally, people shared stories. "I tipped extra when I realized how they treated her." The same showroom now had a quiet sign near the entrance. "All guests welcome." Not flashy, just small, but something changed. Months later, Samantha ran into the same salesman. Small cafe, she delivered pastries from community bakery. They recognized each other and paused. He swallowed. I'm sorry." She offered a small smile. "Thank you, I appreciate that." They stood quietly, and something soft passed between them. Not guilt nor pride. Never judge someone by their appearance. Kindness costs nothing, and respect should be given freely, not based on wealth, clothes, or first impressions. True character shines quietly and powerfully through humility, empathy, and grace.